Look at this image. How does it relate to your idea of leadership? For many, keys represent control and the power to decide who has access, has a voice, who belongs. But that's not leadership, that's gatekeeping. Much of the leadership that we've inherited was for a different world, and it was built on charisma or command and control. Today's complexities require something else: generative leadership. Generative leadership is the cultivation of growth and connection and shared purpose, so what we build together endures. Generative leaders don't hoard their keys or cling to control. Instead, they unlock what's possible. They expand access and they open doors not just for others, but with them. Think of the people that unlocked doors for you, who created space for you to grow. A parent, a teacher, a mentor, a coach. For me, one of those people was Mr. Hunt. He was the activities director at my high school, and as class president, I was responsible to help lead the annual Spirit Week rally. And my entire understanding of leadership at that point was all about control. I was determined to make this perfect. And I felt that as a leader, it was my responsibility to know everything, fix everything, carry everything, do everything. I had really great motives, but really, really bad skills. And so, my core memory of that event was looking at my family right there in the bleachers. They had looks of horror on their faces as I was just melting down, screaming at my classmates, barking out orders. And when the rally started, our still wet decorations were literally crumbling all around us. We won the rally, but it was a total leadership failure. Mr. Hunt didn't see failure, though. He saw an opportunity for my formation. He gently took me aside after the rally and he coached me, sharing words that have continued to shape my life since that moment. He said, "People tend to support something they help to create." He planted a generative seed, and he helped me begin to see that leadership is not about demanding effort or commanding effort, but it's about cultivating shared ownership. It's not about being the strong man or the hero, but it's about building something together. It's not about leadership over, it's leadership with, as a dialogue, not dominance. You may have noticed that we're in the middle of a spectacular pivot. It seems that our world is changing every day, technologically, emotionally, socially. AI is accelerating, and as a result, people are reskilling, upskilling as their jobs are evolving or possibly disappearing. Today's students are asking, will the career that I'm preparing for even exist when I graduate? There's a real sense of excitement and angst mixed together as we look towards the future. And many of us are feeling a bit uncertain. One thing remains the same: leadership has never mattered more. Leadership is the force that will determine how every future innovation unfolds. And so it's critical as we move towards our era of human AI collaboration that we make decisions now, not only about what we're going to build, but how we're going to lead. Because the decisions we make now about how we lead or who we follow will determine whether or not we thrive in the future. We need leadership that AI simply can't generate. AI can generate code and music and images. It can simulate a conversation or even a therapy session, but it cannot generate leadership because leadership isn't output. Leadership is empathy and courage and responsibility and connection. Leadership must always be our human endeavor. Generative AI creates content. Generative leadership creates connection. Now, together, they are going to build our future, but only one is going to shape how we relate to one another and who we become. Generative leadership is our human-centered response to our tech-driven future. But that brings us to a choice. It's a choice that every leader, every organization, every generation has to make. Are we going to cling to control, or are we going to reach and build what's next? Psychologist Erik Erikson calls this a tension in human development between generativity and stagnation, between growth and decline. Generative leaders choose to release their control and they multiply possibility. But stagnant leaders, they resist change and they protect their position. Organizations stagnate too. Think Blockbuster, Kodak, BlackBerry. They didn't fail to innovate, they failed to let go. And in companies and in families, you may have seen this. It's the leader who decides that their voice is the most important one in the room, and only their preferences matter. Or it's the manager who holds the keys but never opens the door. Will we be the leaders who evolve, or will we be the leaders who resist until it's too late? If we're all feeling a little bit uncertain about the future, then maybe the most powerful thing we can do is not hold back and build the future together as wisdom keepers and innovators. In many cultures, a wisdom keeper is somebody who holds and protects the sacred teachings of their people. I'm using the term in leadership to describe individuals who they carry deep experience and the generosity to share it. Wisdom keepers are individuals who have experience and stories and hard-earned insight. Innovators are individuals who bring energy and urgency and bold new questions, bold new ideas. The two of them together have a very strategic and symbiotic relationship. You have perspective and possibility. Scholars call this partnership, this symbiotic relationship, a mutual generativity. And it's also a fantastic strategy. Harvard Business Review just said that age inclusion is your company's next competitive advantage because age-diverse teams, like most diverse teams, outperform. But too often, we cling to that model of control and hierarchy and seniority. And older professionals look at their younger colleagues and they expect them to wait their turn and do their time and follow the same career path that they carved out. But I have news for everyone. Young leaders aren't waiting. They are already shaping our future. We're talking about a generation of digital natives and entrepreneurs who elevated their lemonade stands to an online brand before they could drive. These are individuals who taught themselves to edit video, cultivate a following, launch a side hustle, all from their phones. Let's not mistake their youth for inexperience. Their inexperience may look very different, but it's no less valuable. Let's not ask, what do they know? Let's start asking, how can we learn how they know what they know? But these innovators would greatly benefit from having open doors and encouragement and strategy that wisdom keepers can offer. The wisdom keepers are leaders and mentors and elders in their communities or their crafts. They have built structures and scaled visions, and they've weathered storms. Their insights were forged in fire. Let's not mistake their longevity for stagnation, because they're not just holders of information, they are holders of wisdom. This partnership is so impactful. And the real question is not who's going to lead, it's how do we lead together? Because our future is not inherited, it's co-created. Generative leadership is not new. It's been around through the ages in families, in teams, in boardrooms. And this summer it showed up at the movies. So, F1 the film. Sonny Hayes is a retired race car driver, and he gets paired with Joshua Pierce, who's kind of the young, hotshot rookie. And at first, it's kind of what you might expect. It was like ego and conflict, and there was a crash. Sorry, spoiler alert. And Sonny did something amazing. He didn't outshine Joshua. Instead, he elevated him. And he shared his strategy. He adapted. And in the end, in the final race, he used all of his experience not to win himself, but to create the conditions so that Joshua would succeed. That's generative leadership. And Sonny didn't step aside. He stepped with Joshua. He didn't pass the torch. He built a bigger fire. Generative leadership doesn't always happen between generations. Sometimes it's between two individuals who maybe have different levels of influence. This summer, during her Cowboy Carter tour, Beyoncé invited Miley Cyrus on stage when they were in Paris to sing their duet. And the fans were so excited. It was a big surprise. And after the fact, in an interview, Miley shared something really profound about her experience in that moment. She said, "Confident women don't compete. I'm not insecure, and she's not insecure. It was metaphorical that she gave me her riser." She said, that's what women who support others do. You ask, how can I make your entrance something really special and give you all the power? And while that moment was between two women, it's really not about gender or age or position. It's about the willingness to share power that makes it generative. When leaders are willing to choose generosity over insecurity or control, they unlock something so powerful, not just in others, but in themselves. Okay, so let's talk about some practical things we can do to practice generative leadership. It's not a position, it's a mindset, and it's a relational practice. So I'm going to give you 3 keys, all right? Key number 1, expand your circle. So whether you identify as a wisdom keeper or an innovator or both, you can expand your circle. Share your access. Share your platform. Access is really the point. When you invite somebody else in to a process or a project or a space, not only is the individual who receives the access transformed, but the room that they're in is transformed as well. Ask who's missing. Who could I invite into this? Key number 2, you want to engage in deep dialogue. Listen to understand, not to advise. Pause, get curious, ask, how might you see this? What am I missing? Help me understand. And 3, co-create the future. Share your work, share your credit, share the ownership. Remember what Mr. Hunt said, people tend to support something they help to create. These keys, they're rooted in relationship and respect, and they're not just for today, they're for shaping a sustainable future. So one morning I was on the trail here in Folsom, and I paused under a massive oak tree. And I thought, this tree has been here before I arrived, and it will be here long after I leave. Its roots sunk deep in the ground, its branches stretched wide. It wasn't hoarding sunlight or space, it was creating a generative ecosystem for life to thrive in and around it. That's generative leadership. It's life giving life. It's the ability to nurture something beyond ourselves, because leadership isn't just about what you do, it's about what grows because of you. And as we look to 2050, some will be stepping into their most significant leadership opportunities. Today's students will become the leaders others look to. Some of us will be looking back on our lives and we're going to reflect and ask, did we shape a world that we're proud to leave behind? Was our leadership generative? Did we unlock possibility or hold it back? Consider the key in your hand. Our legacy is shaped by the space we create for others and the opportunities we unlock. What will you unlock? For yourself? For others? For what's next? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.